Hi guys, and welcome to the Warhammer Lady. So as you've seen later, well in my latest videos, I've been talking about doing Tactica for Dark Angels. So this is my first shot at it. And I want to know if having a pure Deathwing army will actually work out. So I've done 3 different army lists of different point costs, and I'll be going through them so that you can see what I've took. And also later on, if you want to, you can give me pointers on my builds. Okay, let's start out. The first thing I went through was to see what was the lowest point cost that I could possibly get. And I have to have Belial, of course, as an HQ so that I can take Terminators as troops. And that together with 2 Terminator squads with no upgrades whatsoever is a little over 600 points. I myself would never take Terminators without upgrades, so I decided to give one of the groups a Heavy Flamer. And this is because when going down in reserves, I can choose to have half of my units rounding up to come down via deep strike, or reserves rather. And seeing as Belial is 1 unit, I have 3 in total, so 2 guys. Well, 2 units, sorry. So the unit going down with Belial, so they won't scatter, they will have a Heavy Flamer. This will give me the advantage to land, say, behind a unit of guys with melter guns, so that I can take them out before they take me out. This is great with Belial that he doesn't scatter, it gives you a very tactical advantage. The other guys, the other 5 Terminators, they were walking in. And the biggest problem for Deathwing is that they don't have that much anti-tank. So I'll be giving these guys a plasma cannon, because it's a fair range that I can shoot at stuff, like your armored vehicles and so forth. This is an okay-ish 700 points. It's just below 700 points, not enough to give me an extra Terminator, but still not 700. It works okay. Maybe it's a little too small to have a okay-ish army, but since you only have 3 units, that's not a lot. But they're also very hard to hit, so it might work out. The next army is 1000 points. I'm keeping Belial and 5 Terminators with a Heavy Flamer. The other guys, they will also come down via deep strike now. So either I give them a Heavy Flamer or an assault cannon, depending on, I guess, my mood, or if I know what army I'm gonna face. I will also add 1 Venerable Dreadnought, because Venerable Dreadnoughts have an extra ballistic skill. And the Venerable Dreadnought will have a missile launcher. I always like hitting on 2s if I have missile launcher, so that I don't miss so much. The other Dreadnought will have a twin-linked las cannon. As I said, anti-tank, real problem. And a Heavy Flamer, just in case I come into close combat. You can never be sure enough, right? The guys deep striking in with Belial, well, all of them will deep strike now, sorry. Belial will be deep striking with 6 Terminators, because I've added 1. It makes for almost 1000 points. And one might say that I should first deep strike Belial, because if I do, they won't scatter, and the second troop, I can deep strike next to them. But then, if you do that, your opponent will know that your second group of Terminators will deep strike there, so they might just run away as far as they can while shooting at Belial and the Terminators, who will have to stand there for 1 turn before they can assault. If you deep strike them with the second unit, sure, they won't scatter if you deep strike next to them, but that means they can't go into assault until round 3. And that might be a very big gap on such a small point cost. So I would go for just deep striking them both at the same time in the first round. So, that was 1000 points. We're moving on to 1750, and I'm gonna have to check my notes to see that I don't miss any units. That would be sad. Again, Belial, of course. 10 Terminators this time that he will come down with, and they will have 2 Heavy Flamers, because each number of 5 Deathwing Terminators can take a Heavy Flamer. So 2 Flamers, which is awesome if you want to kill, say, a big group of melter guns. Brilliant. Also, I will have 5 Terminators in 1 group. They will have a, let's see if I got this right. Yes, a Cyclone missile launcher. They won't be arriving via deep strike. They'll be arriving walking in alongside 2 Dreadnoughts. None of them will be venerable, and both of them will have twin-linked las cannons and a Heavy Flamer. Because again, as I said, anti-tank. Need the las cannons, real bad. And on top of that, I will have 1 group of Deathwing Knights. Looking at it, I thought, 5 knights, okay, fine. But then I thought again, what if someone kills them. Say if I go up against an opponent with really nasty long-range guns, he could potentially wipe out 2 to 3 of my knights, meaning that when I actually go into assault, my smite mode, it will be completely wasted. If I have 7 knights, however, I can sustain some casualties. It's okay if 2 die. It will still be fine when they come into assault. So I made a group of 7 knights. That's about 1,750 points. I also gave all of the Terminators Chain Fist throughout the entire list as soon as I could, because they're really, really cheap. So why not? I mean, for 1,750 points, I would still deep strike all of my units at the same time. Because if I deep strike my knights, seeing as I want to save them from some fire perhaps, they won't get into assault until round 3. That's not very good. Also, whenever it comes to Deathwing, this is some general tactic that I would employ. Deploy as close as possible to all of your opponents. Not 10 inches away to be safe, because yes, there is mishap, but take it from me, it doesn't happen all too often. I scatter a lot, and yes, I explode sometimes, but it's okay, it happens. And seeing, for example, with your knights, if they come down, first 10 inches up with a hit, or if you come down, you put them 10 inches from you thinking, oh, they will scatter towards the opponent, and they scatter 12 inches away, they will never see close combat that game. Never. And then you've wasted, what, like 350 points, just because you were scared of deep striking too close to your opponent. So yes, deploy wisely. Other than that, let's go through some pros and cons with the army. Pros with Deathwing. They're hard to kill. They have a 2+ armor save, ordinary Terminator, sorry, and a 5+ invulnerable save. The knights have possibly toughness of 5, a save on a 2+, and an invulnerable save on a 3+. They're going to be hard to kill. And what is good is that if you go up against an opponent that makes an ordinary army, he usually has a couple of units that's in there just to take out infantry. They can't harm your Terminators whatsoever, thus they will be useless unless they take like objectives and stuff. Another thing that's really good about Deathwing, I've been touching on this subject before, is the fact that you really do control the battlefield. You can choose to deep strike next to really nasty stuff. You can take out meltas, plasmas, by just putting flamers next to them, and so forth. You can choose to deep strike one group of Terminators in the front, so that perhaps if you do deep strike in the second run, the guys running away from the Terminators, you can deep strike them there, so as to outflank them. That works, it does. Again, a lot of tactics rather, and it will work out just fine. Like in this scenario, for example. The Imperial Guard player has placed his 3 melta guns in the back, so as to protect them from as many shots as possible. But then I deep strike in behind him, so that now I only have to do 1 wound to actually take out 1 melta guy. But before that, I had to do 7 wounds to take out 1 gun. And this is the advantage of the new rules, that the closest guys die first. In this scenario, I've chosen to deep strike right in front of all the demon units. I could potentially fire at the Warlord. This is the Herald over here. But then, in the next round, all of the Flamers would kill me. So instead I choose to come down and shoot at the Flamers, ASAP. Yes, the Bloodlifters are dangerous, but they only have AP 3, so for Terminators, not as much. Plague Bearers, well, they're Plague Bearers, and Pink Horrors only have AP 4, so nothing, except for the Flamers, can really kill me off. Thus meaning that it's way more important for me to kill them off than anything else. Some cons about Deathwing is the fact that they're small. If a unit of your Terminators die, if your Knights die, you will have wasted a lot of points, and it might potentially harm you in the long run. Another thing is those big blast templates with AP 1 or AP 2. One blast template easily covers all of your Terminators, even if it scatters 1 or 2 inches. That could be really fatal. Thus, if you go up against an opponent like that, where you know that the weapons are so dangerous, deep strike next to it, kill it off, or just spend your entire shooting phase on killing off really nasty stuff. So you can turn it around. Those are the cons and the pros for playing Deathwing. I myself am going to try it. I think it will be really fun, and I hope that it works. Again, this is just something I've never tried. If you have any pointers on the web of my lists, let me know. It will be great practice for me. So, thank you for watching and have a good day.